Hello developers, welcome to gilgeekify. My name is Saeed Kohansel, and I hope you have a wonderful day. In this video, I will teach you how to create PHP Object-Oriented CRUD system using PDO extension and MySQL database from scratch. You should know basics of PHP to handle this. Let's examine the important questions. What is CRUD? In computer programming, create, read, update, and delete, CRUD, are the four basic operations of persistent storage. CRUD is also sometimes used to describe user interface conventions that facilitate viewing, searching, and changing information using computer-based forms and reports. The term was likely first popularized by James Martin in his 1983 book Managing the Database Environment. What is OOP? OOP stands for Object-Oriented Programming. Procedural programming is about writing procedures or functions that perform operations on the data, while object-oriented programming is about creating objects that contain both data and functions. What is PDO? PDO is an acronym for PHP Data Objects. PDO is a lean, consistent way to access databases. This means developers can write portable code much easier. In the following, I will teach you how to run these commands and how to change your database data. Let's import dummy data to MySQL database using phpMyAdmin. I have a database called PHP_CRUD, also a SQL backup. You can import it. Well, it's my dummy data. And it's my table structure. Let's create a PDO database connection in an object-oriented style from scratch. First, let's create all files we need. db-config.php for database class and connection, style.css for some styles. Create, read, update, and delete.php for CRUD operation. I want to create a reusable and readable database connection. I will define a database class and a connection variable with null as its value to close the connection. I use the private keyword for my connection variable. A private keyword means the property or method can only be accessed within the class. And the private keyword is an access modifier. Properties and methods can have access modifiers which control where they can be accessed. In the PHP OOP there are three access modifiers: public, protected, and private. I defined a public construct function with 4 parameters. A constructor allows you to initialize an object's properties upon the creation of the object. And this is how we can create a PDO connection with predefined constants. A great benefit of PDO is that it has an exception class to handle any problems that may occur in our database queries. If an exception is thrown within the try block, the script stops executing and flows directly to the first catch block. So we have a connection variable, a constructor function with 4 parameters: hostname, database name, username, and password. With setAttribute keyword, we can set an attribute. And it's going to display an error if the connection failed for any reason. In Visual Studio Code, you can hover over most words and it shows you a description of that, also a referral link you can get information about that. I will put some useful links for you inside the description of this video and also as always a complete source code of this script, so enjoy it. And this predefined constant specifies that the fetch method shall return each row as an array indexed by column name as returned in the corresponding result set. Okay, now I'm going to define a function that will execute all statements. We will be passing our SQL statements to this function: insert, select, update, and delete. It returns a PDO statement object or throws an exception if it gets an error. In my execute statement function, I have a statement and parameters. That statement is an SQL statement to execute and it's required, and the parameters are an array of key and value and it's optional. So the statement is required and the parameters are optional. Let's define CRUD functions one after another. It's my insert function and I can insert new data to my database. Insert will add a row and will return an integer of the last ID inserted or throws an exception if it gets an error. I'm passing statement and parameters into my execute statement function. Okay, now let's define a function to select data from the database. By this function we can select data and use it everywhere we want. Fetch all returns an array containing all of the result set rows. It's my update function. With this function I can update my existing data in the database table. And the last one, it's my remove function. With this function I can delete existing data in my database table or even completely drop a table. Well, so we have all functions to do CRUD operation: insert function to create data, select function to read data, update function to update data, and remove function to delete data. We have a complete database class. Now let's connect to server. This is how we can use the database class and connect to the database. You can pass the parameters like this. Inside database class we have a constructor function, so PHP will automatically call this function when you create an object from a class. And my database name is PHP_CRUD. Let's check the connection. Just open db-config.php file in the browser. If it returns nothing, that means you are connected to your database correctly, and if there's an error it returns the exact error. Let me show you how it displays errors. It returns uncaught exception with exact error. This is what I defined in my catch blocks. I mean this line of code inside my catch blocks. It gets the exception message as a string. Very nice. We have a complete PHP PDO database connection in OOP style. Now let me show you how you can do CRUD operation. I will show you all of the commands one after another as I say at the start of this video. Let's start with commands to create or insert data. Before everything, let's import the database connection and class. I want to show you several commands inside a single PHP file, so I'm using a unique get parameter to run every command. This is how you can insert a single row to database. I'm creating some dummy data to insert into the database. This data can come from HTML forms or any type of applications or web applications by HTTP methods and REST API. Okay, let me import the database connection and class into all of my PHP files. Now let's continue. I'm using exceptions to check and handle my errors. This is how you can run your SQL command. Right here the SQL command is passing a statement, and the new data is passing as parameters to the insert function from database class. And this is my new data. With an exception, try and catch block, I can display my successful messages or errors, real errors, or custom error messages. So it's my new dummy data. I pass it right here as parameters into my insert function. And it's my SQL query. I want to insert data to my table, cars_list. And there are my table columns. So we have an insert function to insert new data into the database. With the statement, this is a statement. And the parameters, this is parameters. Okay, now let's check the insert function. Just open create.php file and add the get parameter in the URL to run this command. Well, new data has been inserted into the database. Let's check the table for a new row, refresh. And as you can see, a new row is created. Let's add some new rows again. Well, as you can see, 5 new rows are inserted. If you have any typo in your SQL query, it returns an error as string. I have two columns called added and updated. Both of them are automatically going to create by MySQL with a timestamp as their type and a time as their value. The data inside the added column is going to create at the first time of row creation. And the data inside the updated column is going to update for every change in the row values, or better to say it's the last updated time of a row. Let me show you how it works. Check the time. Pay attention to the time. Well, now I'm adding a command to insert multiple data into the database. I speed up the video for duplicate codes or actions to prevent you from getting bored. Okay, now I have new data in the multidimensional array and the insert command for each of them. Now let's insert multiple rows into the database. New rows have been inserted. Let's check the table. As you can see, multiple rows are right here. Let's add more data. Nice. Now I will define a command to auto-insert row or rows into the database by multidimensional array loop. This is a for each loop for my new data array to insert all rows into the database. In this way you can automatically add single or multiple data into database. Let's check the auto-insert command. Well, new rows are inserted into the table. I'm inserting more data. Very nice. So now we have three model commands for inserting data: insert single data, insert multiple data, and auto-insert data. Now let me show how you can select data from the database. This is how you can select all data from a table. And I display the result in a pretty style. This is how you can print arrays in Beauty row break line. Just open red.php file to check the result. Very well. As you can see, we selected all of the rows from the table. Let's check how the select function works. In this case, we have only a statement, without any parameters. The statement is the SQL query. We are passing the statement and parameters to execute statement function, and this function is going to run my command. Let me add some CSS to display result in a better style. Okay, let's check it. I think it's good now. Now let me show how you can select a single row from a table by ID. It's so simple. Let's check it. I should change this variable to display this result. I want to get row with ID 16. And as you can see, I selected only single row by ID. Let's check it in the database. Okay. Check another ID. And this is how we can select a single row from the database. Very well, now I'm going to show you how you can select multiple rows from table. Let's check it. And this is how you can select multiple rows from database. Okay, in the last one, I will show you how you can auto-select row or rows from the table by getParameters with a loop. You can add parameters inside the URL as you wish. Okay, let's check it. I use array_filter function to remove empty keys from my array. Well, as you can see, it's working fine. let's check another parameter style. Very nice. So now, we have 4 model commands for reading data. Select all data from a table, select a single row, select multiple row, and auto-select row or rows by getParameters loop. Now let me show you how you can update data in database. First, let me show you how you can update a single row inside the database. I'm adding dummy data with an ID to update. And this is how you can add your SQL query to update a row. So we have dummy data. Sending parameters like this. And an ID for SQL were clause. Okay, let's check this command with updating ID4 with my dummy data as their value. Pay attention to this row. Just open update.php file and run this command using getParameter. Very well, let's check the table. Refresh. And as you can see, row with ID4 has been updated with my dummy data. Now let's test with another ID. Very nice. This is how you can update single row data. Now I'm going to show you how you can update multiple rows from a table. Okay, let's update rows with ID 8, ID 14, and ID 17. Okay, and this is how you can update multiple rows. Now I will show you how you can auto-update row or rows by multidimensional array loop. This is how you can add a for each loop. Let's check it. I want to update rows with ID 9, ID 11, and ID 20. Okay, so we learned how we can update a single row, update multiple rows, and auto-update row or rows by multidimensional array loop. Now I'm going to show you how you can delete data from the database, also how you can drop a table from database. This is how you can delete a single row by ID from the table. It's a statement, with an ID as a parameter. Let's check our remove function. The SQL query is a statement, and the ID is a parameter. Let's check this function. I want to delete ID 1. Well, ID 1 has been deleted. I test more IDs. Very well. Now I'm going to show you how to delete multiple rows from the table. I want to delete rows with ID 2, ID 3, and ID 4. Okay. Refresh. And the rows have been deleted. Let's test it again with more IDs. Okay, now I will show you how you can delete all rows from a table, and how you can drop a table from the database. This is how we can delete all rows from a table. And this is how we can drop a table from the database. Let's test delete all rows command. Very nice. And now let's test drop this table with my drop table command. OK. As you can see, the table is dropped. Let me import my dummy data again. OK. In the last one, I will show you how you can auto-delete row or rows from the table by getParameters with a loop. You can add parameters inside the URL as you wish. OK, let's test it. I want to delete rows from ID 1 to ID 6. OK. Let's check it. Very nice. Everything is working perfectly. Let's delete more rows. You can download the source code from a link inside the description. Congratulations! Now you know how to do a complete PHP CRUD operation. If you enjoy my content, please like this video, click the subscribe button, and turn on notification for future videos. Also, if you have any questions about this video, please comment it for me. Thank you for watching this video. Now let's do some dancing.
Because I will not quit, not because I want this. Don't try to stop me now.